Hi guys. So I thought I would talk about my adoption story. In a couple of my videos I've mentioned that I was adopted, and I didn't really shed any light on the subject because I wanted to make a specific video about it. I was adopted on September 13th. It was a Friday the 13th, to be honest. I was born August 6th, 1991. I was adopted by my family that I call mom and dad on September the 13th. And I've always known that I was adopted. I don't remember ever not knowing. I can't exactly tell you the specific time that I realized what being adopted actually meant to me, because I just always remember being adopted. I knew that the people I call mom and dad weren't my biological parents, but that didn't matter to me. They're the ones that raised me. They're the ones that nurtured and loved me and gave me my morals and taught me to be who I am today. So I was adopted. And my little brother, who is 4 years younger than me, is also adopted, but from a different family. I didn't ever know anything about my biological parents. I just knew that I was adopted. And as I got older, my dad started showing me more and more about my whole adoption process and who my birth mom was, sort of, and what her name was, and just little things here and there. I mean, they didn't know a lot of detail because it was a closed adoption, which means I can't have any contact with my biological parents, and they can't have any contact with me until I'm at least 18, and then we can decide if we want to seek them out or whatever. So they had told me little things like what my name would have been if she had kept me, and it would have been Crystal. My name would have been Crystal. And just things like that. I always wondered, what it would be like if I had actual, like, blood-related siblings out there, and I always wondered little things like that, but I never thought anything of the subject of when I turn 18, I have to go out and seek my birth mom. I have to know. I have to know everything. And it never really occurred to me. It never really was a thing that was in my mind at the time. I mean, I thought about it, but I wasn't like, this is what I have to do as soon as I turn 18 kind of thing. So I did turn 18 and I went to college. I went away to college. And I remember it was a Tuesday and I was actually at work and I was on my break and I got a phone call from the adoption agency that I was adopted from our caseworker. Her name was Debbie, and she told me that they had correspondence for me from my family. I didn't know what that was at first, and then she said that they had a letter and pictures from my birth mother, and if I wanted them, then I was the legal age that I could have them. They could send them to me. And I remember being kind of shocked and surprised at first, and I said yes, yeah, definitely. And as soon as I got the phone with her, I started crying. All sorts of things ran through my mind. Like, what's she like? Did she remarry? Do I have brothers and sisters? What's their family like? Do they go to church? Do they not go to church? What's her job like? Do they have pets? All sorts of things just started popping into my mind. Questions that I actually never thought of until that very minute. And it took about a month, and we got the letter and pictures. I read the letter first, and I was surprised by a lot of what was in the letter. We had a lot in common. And their family did go to church, and that made me very happy because I, of course, am a preacher's daughter. I go to church every Sunday. I was grown up in the church. I was raised in the church. So I was excited to know. She had remarried 2 years, about 2 to 3 years after she had given me up for adoption. And she explained to me what her thought process was on the whole adoption. She basically gave me up because she wanted a better life for me. I would have been raised in the ghetto, if you will. I would have been raised around drugs. My birth father doesn't even know I exist, and he was running with the wrong crowd, and I would just have not been in a very good situation at all, and I would have grown up without a father. So, and that's not the lifestyle she wanted for me. So that was the reason why she gave me up in the first place. And I have no negative feelings to her at all whatsoever for her choice to give me up. And I appreciate her, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I love her so much, is because she did choose the best life for me that I could possibly ever have. I have the greatest life. I've had the greatest childhood with my parents, and them not being able to have children, they have been given a gift by my birth mom. And so later on in the letter, they had 3 dogs. She married a man. His name is Mike, and they have 1 daughter. So I have a little sister, and her name was Miranda. They live in Oklahoma City, which was shocking to me also, because I'm from Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma. I have tons of family in Oklahoma City, so I was in Oklahoma City. I would be there all the time, and it was just weird to me, because I was like, all of a sudden, wow, I could have passed them in the mall, in Walmart, in a restaurant, and I never would have known that could have been my mom. That could have been my sister. It was crazy to me. I had aunts. I have 2 aunts. I have a grandfather, a grandmother. It was surreal to me. I immediately wrote back and sent photos of myself, and explained to her what I was doing in life and all that kind of jazz. And then later on, I was talking with my dad, and he told me that he knew what her maiden name was. He told me her maiden name was Long. So I kind of processed that a little bit, and then I started thinking, everybody has a Facebook. Everybody. And so I got on Facebook, and I typed in Christina Long, and I narrowed the search to the town they live in, Oklahoma City. And sure enough, she was the first person to pop up. I didn't know what to do at that point. I looked at the page and her photos over and over again, and it took me about a week, and I finally decided I'm going to message her. So I did. And I remember the message, it was just ridiculous. It was something weird like, I don't mean to freak you out or anything, but if you gave birth in the Deaconess Hospital in Oklahoma City and on August 6, 1991, then I am 99% sure that I'm your daughter. And that was like it. And I hit send. And it took a couple weeks, and I got a reply back from her. And from that point on, the rest is just history. We talked all the time. I started talking to my sister, my aunts, and since I live only 4 hours from Oklahoma City, and I have family there anyways, and I go down there almost all the time to hang out with my little cousins and visit my aunt, and my grandma used to live there. I was going down there in October of 2010. It was 2010. And I was going to go down there and hang out with them. So as I was on my way down, I was like, let's just do this. Let's do it. I had their number. I had Christine's number. We'd been texting, and I said, look, I'm going to be in Oklahoma City this weekend. Let's meet up. Let's take this leap and let's do it. So we did. I met up with them at a restaurant, and my aunts and my sister were all there before my mom showed up with her husband. And it was crazy. It was great talking to them. It was like, wow, these people are my blood relatives. It was a weird feeling. And as soon as my mom got there, it was just quiet. Everything was quiet. And she was already crying, and she hugged me. She hugged me for it seemed like minutes. At least, I know she at least hugged me for at least an entire minute, but to me it felt like she was holding on to me for 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. and she was just crying and crying. And when we were done hugging, I looked up and everyone else in the room was crying. Everyone except me. I was like, I was shocked by the whole thing. It was so surreal to me. Like, these people have known about me my entire life. And even though I knew I had a family out there, I knew nothing about them. I knew nothing about what they looked like. It was all too weird for me. And so I was the only one not crying in the whole area. And my sister's not very an emotional person, but, yeah, it was a really emotional time. And we talked, and it was crazy listening to her, because we have so much in common. We like the same things. We have the same medical problems. Thanks to my mother, I inherited horrible allergies and loose joints, and I dislocate the exact same knee she dislocates. I got all of my mom's medical problems. Thanks a lot, Mom. And her husband, he's a great, great guy. I'm so happy that she found somebody that loves her as much as he does. And he treats me just like his own, too. As far as I'm concerned, he's not my biological father, but he might as well be. He's a great man, and I consider him dad, almost. I consider him another father. And he is just like my dad. So my adopted father and my biological mother's husband are like two peas in a pod. They like the same things. They're both hunting, fishing freaks. I mean, when our families get together, they click instantly. It's great. But so we spent the whole day talking, just learning about one another, and she explained more on the whole adoption subject and why she did what she did, and it was a lot to take in. And from that point on, I mean, it's been 3 years, almost 3 years since I've actually met them. And every time I go to Oklahoma City, we meet up. Christina has been in my life from that point on. And what the greatest thing about this whole thing is that I was so young when I found her. I was just 18 when we met. I had just turned 18. No, I was 19. I was 19 when we met. And she was here for my wedding. She was there for my baby and wedding shower. She's been a part of my daughter's lives, her grandbabies, from day one. Not a lot of biological parents get that chance. Not a lot of adopted. This is a story that a lot of times don't ever really happen. I don't know what the statistics are for people meeting their biological families if they are adopted. And when they do, I often see people that are way older, that are, grandparents themselves before they even meet their biological parents. And in this case, I wasn't even married yet. I was barely in college when I met my birth mom. And so she's been able to be here for really big milestones. And our families have clicked so well. We've taken them in. They are basically a part of our family. And my parents, on the whole subject, they couldn't be more happy. They're not worried about me being like, oh, well, now that I've met my birth mom, you guys aren't my parents anymore. That's not how it is. No, they've done everything for me through my entire life. My biological mother, yes, she carried me and gave me life. But my parents are my parents. My mom and dad are my mom and dad. I've just gained another mother, though. And they introduced me as their daughter, and I am, as far as I'm concerned. I have two moms. I have two dads. I have a sister that's blood related, and I have an adopted brother that, he might as well be blood related too. We're like best friends. I love my brother. And I'm making this video now because I did, in fact, see them this past weekend when I went down to Oklahoma City with my parents. And they are in my week 4 video. I I don't really make a video with my birth mom, but there is a picture at the very end of the video of me, my mom, my sister, and Mike, we'll call him Dad, with my girls, Madeline and Maya. And we look a lot alike, especially from the side. And it's crazy. It's all been an amazing journey, and I'm so thankful that we get along as well as we do, because sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes when you meet your biological families, they don't want anything to do with you, or you just don't mesh well. You don't click. And the best thing about this is that they are just like the family I grew up in. So that's my story. I didn't want to make this a super long video. It's long enough, 15 minutes. But there's just so much to talk about with the whole thing. I could make an entire documentary about my adoption story. If anybody has any questions regarding my story of meeting my mom, or our relationship now, or adoption in general, or anything, just message me, comment to me, anything, because this is something that a lot of people don't get to go through, and I am very lucky to be one that has been able to experience this and live this today. So just, if anybody has anything to say, go ahead and say it, ask away, ask questions, anything. I'm here to share my experiences, because I've had experiences that are rare, in my opinion. And I make the best out of everything I experience, and this is one of those experiences that I will cherish for the rest of my life.